So you might have noticed something. You might have. Just saying. Things are a little different here this morning on a Freestyle Friday. John here, you there, and it's going to be a fun sprint for the 2 hours. We got some news to talk about, and it's kind of, inside and a little personal, but, as we always like to do and sharing here on Soccer's Morning Show, yeah, things look a little different. And, it's been a lot of thought and, in our 8th season. And like I said, things are going to look a little different around here in the sense of how we present things. Jason will be on at 10:30, and we'll talk about it a little more. And Maddie will be dropping by. I'm sure Jared will be dropping by as well. But it's a very, very busy Friday. We got the Euros to talk about. Bam is already fired up, and with Bam and Jared, I'm guessing that if you had the two of them in one particular place, it would be one topic, and it would be about a minute long. And I debated having Amy McDonald open the segment with the Euros and discuss what's going on, at least in her mind. And Jarrett and Bam are probably going to end up beating me to it. So we got the Euros to talk about. That's what's on the table today in hour number one. Hour number two, it's the weekend whip around. Patent pending, trademark coming sooner, hopefully, rather than later, where we look at everything going on in Major League Soccer with Atlanta United, with all of the stuff going on. Yes, Abby, it is a new logo, and it's part of a new look for SDH, and so so it's a fun new chapter for us, and it's going to be. You're going to be seeing us styling and profiling with it. And like I said, it's been a thought of ours for a bit. And so now it is no longer just a thought. It is, I always forget what side I'm on here. So it is part of the deal. And so for those that might have missed the opening, just to give you an idea, new cover slide. Now, let me get Bam's comment out of the way because it kind of covers everything up. So there you go. That's us. That is the new look. It is very Oakland Raidersy with the silver and black, but that's us. That's the new us right there with the logo and everything. So we're trotting that out starting today. Started at 9 o'clock this morning on all of our social medias, and yeah, it is. It is, and so it's really cool. And a lot of thought went into what do we do. And thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Michael. Morning Ropes. Thank you there. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Bam. And so, yeah, it's like I said, it's part of our new stuff. And so you'll see all of the new stuff and the logo around as a part of who we are when it comes to everything SDH. So you'll get to see it in person a little later today for those of you that might be getting an early start to the weekend, and it'll be over in the it'll be over in the West End, and so it'll be fun to see everybody at Lee and White, and we're going to kind of unveil things and be a part of what's going on over there with the beginning of the Euros, and so we'll be over there from 3 to 7 to kick things off involving the Euros and what's happening there. So it'll be fun to see what's going on with Host Nation Germany, and with the Euros coming up at 3 o'clock. So we'll be over there at Lee and White starting at 3 to 7 is when everything rolls, and so we'll be over there a little early just to say hi to everyone. And it'll be great to see everybody here at the beginning of the Euros, and that's kind of where I want to start things off with opening kickoff. Bam, this is not a surprise. Bam says 200,000 Scots have been drinking pubs dry. It's a day that ends in Y. It just so happens that at the same time you are you're able to do it towards a national event, and so there you go. So morning, Alex. Morning, Bam. Morning, Ropes. Yes, and Ropes has already got the flag out and everything, and ready to go. Abby's on her way to get the new flag for the new coach, and so we'll see that unveiled as well. But Did you see? And we'll go ahead and do opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. And here's your QR code for those of you who are watching, however you're watching us on the 280 character app, on the YouTubes, or on the Twitch. That's your QR code to get you over to Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You hit that QR code. Don't forget when you go into Kickoff Coffee to use the code Soccer Down Here 15. You get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvest it in youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Now, I don't know if you heard, but the Euros are in Germany. I don't know if you heard that. But when you have a tournament in Germany or a day that ends in Y in Germany, as as Bam has let us know this morning, that Scots have been drinking pubs dry. Along those lines, I don't know if you heard this. This comes from our friends at Agence France Presse. It appears that supporters of England and Serbia attending the team's opening match in Gelsenkirchen will only be able to purchase reduced strength beer. Beat 2, 3, 4. A 2.5% light beer would be served in the stadium with fans limited to 2 drinks at a time. A spokeswoman for police in the German city told AFP. The decision for Sunday's match had been taken for, quote, security reasons, end quote, according to the spokeswoman. The choice to sell lower strength beer instead of pints with the usual volume of between 4 and 5% was also made because, quote, the British are used to it, she said. German authorities have been preparing to deal with potential hooligans at the tournament. Organizers have invited officials from all the countries playing to help monitor the situation in and around the grounds. The British government has said that more than 1,600 England and Welsh supporters who are hit with stadium bans because previous violent behavior will be prohibited from traveling to Germany during the tournament. England fans infamously clashed with supporters from Russia ahead of their match in Marseille at Euro 2016, which saw running battles between hooligans. So, yeah, you get light beer. You get light beer, 2.5%, not the 4 and 5 that you're traditionally getting overseas, but light beer for you in Gelsenkirchen if you're a fan of England or Serbia. Welcome to the tournament. Welcome to Gelsenkirchen. We're giving you light beer. Michael Head is like worse than 3.2. Gosh. Yeah. Alex says there's a name for very low alcohol beer. It used to be called small beer, not referring to the size of the drinking vessel, but rather to its strength. So apparently small beer is the only beer that's going to be able for purchase in Gelsenkirchen, light beer, according to Michael. For those of you that partake in that particular beverage, I cannot remember the last time, frankly, that I drank a beer. So I will take all of your collective words on it when it comes to what to call small beer, 2.5%, 4 to 5%, those kinds of things. So 2 at a time. And I hate to break it to the folks in Gelsenkirchen, but Gelsenkirchen Stadium is going to still be out of that alcohol. And do not be surprised if you see fans becoming very, very imaginative when it comes to bringing other elements to have them enjoy their experience brought into the stadium. Can't wait to see all of this going on. Ropes is like, you might as well sell O'Doul's. And Bam says it's water with a drop of beer in it. Alex, also not to be confused with small beer, which is what my people drink. They have pints. So I guess the lesson learned here is don't go to Gelsenkirchen if you want to enjoy your experience, or if you want to, what this may end up doing is causing folks to end up purchasing more, which means they're out sooner. And at the same time, it means that, that they might have accomplished their economic goal in getting sold out from all of the beer that would be attached to the particular situation. So, I mean, it's, I'm just saying, I'm just saying that this might be something that's attached to the idea that hey, we want to sell out. We want to sell out our beer. So what do? We de-alcohol it and make sure that that you're partaking in it as best you can, and you buy it all. Then that way you don't have to worry about it. Just saying. So it's a thought. Like I said, it's just a thought that's attached to it. That perhaps by the end of the day, you've sold out of all of your beer. That's what you wanted in the first place. But you're having to do it at 2.5% alcohol at a time if you are in Gelsenkirchen and a fan of England and or Serbia. So that's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. That's right, I have to cover up the QR code from our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps. We'll get to them in a second. QR code there for our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You click on that, you get into Kickoff Coffee. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it into youth games, youth initiatives, stuff that they have earmarked as cool. That's our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, if you want to pursue a career in nursing, you can get in touch with our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps. That QR code, now that it's no longer obstructed by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, you click on that. Our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps, who have over 3 decades of experience, if you're looking for your next nursing gig, they know where to track it down for you. They know how to help you out. Once again, you hit that QR code, and when they ask, how'd you hear about us, you put down their Soccer Down Here, and that helps you out if you are planning on pursuing a career in nursing. And so that's what you do with our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps. Once again, thanks to them for being a part of everything here at SDH. By the way, did you see the new logo? You see the new logo? We got a new logo. New look at SDH right there. New look at SDH. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. So it's a new look for us here at SDH. And once again, design and all of that, fantastic. And you know me, anything in silver and black. And it's very, very cool that we have turned this page and turned into that look for SDH. Like I said, Jason will be on a little over an hour to break it all down. And we'll be discussing everything there. Our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring, Greg and Parkey, they're being dads. I think Parkey is at a baseball tournament for the younger Parkers, and Greg is traveling the planet as he is. So we're going to give them Friday off. And like I said, we got Euros to talk about. We got Major League Soccer to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So legitimately, whatever is on your mind, we're going to have we're going to break down all the groups in the Euro, and then that way we can let everybody know what's going on, what to expect. I want to know from you, and this, like I said, it's going to be on tape, so you're going to have to put some thought into it. I want to know, obviously, who you think is going to win. I want to know who you think is going to flame out. I want to know who's going to be the biggest disappointment. I want to know who's going to be the golden boot. I want to know all of these things that are running through your mind about the Euros. For those of you that are following said, who's going to be your surprise team, who's going to crash the party, all of those things as we run through all of these groups here and let everybody know what's going on with the Euros kicking off this afternoon. And we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be at Lee and White in the West End, and we're going to welcome the Euros in as only we can when it's going to be 227 degrees outside. So hopefully everyone will be shaded and taking care of themselves and each other. Yes, Hutch, titration for the win. Absolutely true. Michael says they're going to have to sell it at all of the match because no German is buying that ish. That's true. And bam, USA and Ireland has a very wet outfield. Hopefully the game gets underway. The rain with the T20. All you got to do is ask Jared about the T20 and the cricket tournament. For those of you that like to see things that aren't 5 and 6 day tests and things like that, if you're into cricket and you want to see fast food cricket, the T20 has been it's been kind of fun to watch. And with the U.S. winning in suburban Dallas, it has kind of spun the awareness of the sport over here into this particular country. And Tom, laying things out, is there ever another answer for who will be the biggest disappointment other than England? Yeah, I mean, that's probably where we're looking when it comes to disappointments. As we've said, Garrett Southgate, he's like, well, you know, I'm, for me, it legitimately is one of those deals where, to be perfectly honest, if he doesn't win, then he's out, and he gets this. He knows this from the absolute beginning. He knows this from the absolute beginning going in. So, taking a peek at the Euros and the groups and all these kinds of things, I know that Tom probably has the leading idea when it comes to who would be the biggest disappointment. But did you see that there's something called the snickometer? Euro 2024 viewers will see how snickometer technology can aid decisions. So microchip fitted in the ball. It was a success in Qatar in 22, benefiting from an equivalent of cricket's snickometer for the first time. Connected ball technology is what this is. Match balls with motion sensing microchips that can track every touch at a rate of 500 times a second. Used in Germany after being deployed in the previous World Cup in 22. Sensitive enough to determine whether the ball brushed a hand en route to a goal or whether a player strayed beyond the last defender. Microchip was a success in Qatar, where it was deemed to help VAR officials make decisions in real time. One of those was the goal by Cristiano Ronaldo, despite Bruno Fernandes being credited. The following day, Adidas, which has provided the technology, released a graphic similar to that used in cricket, which tracks external force on the ball in the form of a heartbeat, showing Ronaldo had not applied the final touch, despite what his celebration might have told you. And so they'll be made available for viewers whenever they're used to making a significant judgment in the Euros now. So we get to see that kind of technology. Roberto Rossetti, UEFA's chief refereeing officer, we have the best technology available. Referees and captains invited to engage in clear dialogue around key decisions. Ref will be able to explain reasons for VAR to the relevant captain or another nominated player if the skipper is a keeper. Captain will be expected to ask his teammates to keep their distance from the ref and not surround him. Good luck on that. Yellow cards given to players who transgress. I want to see who the fastest draw in the Euros is when it comes to that decision. Fourth officials offer explanations to the managers. Rossetti said, "We are doing this for football, for the image of the game, for the next generation of young players and referees, for the image of football." The only thing missing is him pounding on a lectern. Rossetti played down any risk of major VAR delays, pointing out the absence of interventions in recent club competition finals, making the game flow in other areas is a bigger priority. Quote, "If we study the major matches and wasting time, VAR is nothing. We see 7 or 8 minutes of time lost to free kick situations, throw-ins, goal kicks, corners, and substitutions. VAR is really the last of the last," end quote. So we get that. We get to see what's going on there with all of these groups. Julian Nagelsmann is still trying to figure out what to do with Gundogan. Scotland fans are having FOMO, fear of missing out. Who knew that Scotland fans would have FOMO? And it's like, I don't have a ticket. I don't care. I don't care. And did you hear this about a secret algorithm from Albania, of all places? Use of a detailed database which searched the entire globe for players with Albanian heritage has given a boost to the national team. Silvino has been their coach for a while. And since 2017, they've been working on a tool that could transform fortunes of national teams, and Silvino needed to make the most of the tool. A painstaking list of players built over years with thousands of hours of labor, containing the details of footballers all over the world who might one day get to represent Albania. Albania's players were born in the following countries: the UK, Germany, Switzerland, Spain, Italy, Albania, naturally, Kosovo, North Macedonia, and Greece. The population of Albania is around 3 million folks, about the same as Wales. The Albanian Fed thinks there are up to 9 million Albanians living elsewhere on the planet. And so the challenge was to try and find a way to figure out who those folks are. Jasir Asani plays for Gwangju in South Korea, born in North Macedonia to Albanian parents. And Asani has been one of the keys to success for Albania, playing club ball in South Korea. Silvino is assisted by Manchester City defender Pablo Zabaleta. Silvino said, "The database we have is invaluable. Without it, we probably would not have found Asani." Armando Broja is another example, born to Albanian parents. Only 8 players born in the country of the 26 on that roster. Passports, visas, dual, triple nationality eligibility. All of these things. Most international of international teams, it's being regarded by our friends at the Telegraph. Eligible footballers. And by the way, do you play Euro fantasy? Do you? Do you play Euro fantasy? Do you care? You're just going to watch. That's the big thing here. I don't think I have enough knowledge database myself to sit there and go, I think I'm going to play. I think I'm going to play Euro fantasy. Just saying. Tom's asking me the question, is it more emphatical if you pound on a lectern as opposed to a podium? Well, that's a good question. Because if you think about it, a lectern is just, I guess, the shorter version. I think if it's a podium, I guess we're talking about the full length thing that covers you. So if it's a lectern, well, maybe the lectern has a chance to snap. If it's just so short and you hit it hard enough, it has a chance to break easier because of the displacement of the energy that comes in when you hit the lectern. Podium, if you're thinking that's the full thing, I'm thinking if you hit the podium with your hand or your shoe, then maybe the energy displacement helps out with it. If it's a podium, lectern being shorter, I guess that's the differentiation that we're making here. You hit that, the energy displacement happens a lot faster, and the lectern could snap. So I'm thinking that more emphatical on a lectern because of the possibility that the lectern could actually explode. Bam's digging the K-League this morning. Okay, player of the tournament. A couple of folks are sitting there thinking, and I think that you're looking at this. It's a lot of the heavy names. I mean, it literally is it Kane? Is it Foden? Is it, is it Mbappe? I mean, literally, it's a greatest hits package. You're sitting there and it's like, yeah, no real surprises in any of those names that you could put together. Although England apparently is wearing a wellness ring, a 550-pound wellness ring that's worn by folks like Prince Harry and Kim Kardashian. I guess that kind of sits there and lets everybody know what your moods are and how you're letting everything play out. Is something wrong? Is something wrong? What does my ring tell me? What does my ring tell me? Legitimately. That's what you're staring at. Like I said, Germany and Scotland is at 3:00 this afternoon. Tomorrow it's the one match, Hungary and Switzerland at 2:00. You get into all of the details here. Is it Kane? Is it Foden? Is it Mbappe? Yes, it is acoustics down here. And you would get more resonance out of a podium. I think you would. Foden, Jude Bellingham, Musiala, Toni Kroos, Golden Boot. Yeah, and I think, Wiley, that it is a fitness tracking ring, but it's made to, it's not quite like a mood ring or something that you'd get out of a gumball machine. And I just dated myself with 2 references there. So I think that it literally is one of those where you sit there and you wear it and it's like, hey, you get to track it and everybody, oh, he's down. We got to figure out what's going on. But 550 pounds, I'm not paying that for a ring to sit there and monitor my health. It's not happening. Top goal scorers, Kane, Mbappe, Lukaku has a vote. And of course, going to the this is the This is the biggest surprise since never. You go to the British papers and they go to their pundits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pundits. And 4 of them said England. Color me shocked. France, friends. Germany, France and Germany also receiving votes. They got the parentheses RVs. So, like I said, as we talk about the Euros here in hour number 1, I need to know who your star is. I need to know your breakout star. I need to know who you think is going to win. I think I need to know who the biggest disappointment is. I need to know like an underdog that makes it through. All of these things in the Euros that we're going to track down and lay everything out. We'll go over the groups and let you know what the group layout is for those of you that may have forgotten. But yeah, of the 7 pundits at the Telegraph, 4 picked England. Gee, yeah, I guess if you don't pick England and you're with the Telegraph, then people are going to ish all over you. Not a surprise. Breakout stars could be Florian Wirtz, Cole Palmer. I could see Cole Palmer definitely being a breakout star. And Kavisha Kvaratskhelia playing at Napoli. Xavi Simone for the Dutch. But it looks like Florian Wirtz is the one everybody's sitting there thinking is a breakout star, either him or Cole Palmer. I like the idea of Cole Palmer just because of how far we anticipate that England will go before they get blown out of the tournament. Surprises. Austria, tough group, could bump the Netherlands to second, make a run to the quarters under Ralph Rangnick, and we know that Austria is going to be looked at by Nick because of the press. Nick does it better than I do. Scotland actually is getting votes for being a surprise. Some folks are thinking that they'll get out of the group. Steve Clark with John McGinn, Andrew Robertson, Billy Gilmore, Scott McTominay. Might take a point or better off of Germany in the opening match, and you know that that would set well with an entire half of the nation. Denmark getting votes because of what happened in Qatar. Everybody's not looking at Denmark at all. Semifinalists in 21 added Rasmus Højlund. Portugal. Are they really flying below the radar just because of CR38? I don't know if they are, but 2016 winners. Scotland, Ukraine. Reliable players at the back. Bournemouth's Ilya Zabarnyi. Georgi Sudakov, who is being looked at by folks who currently plays at Shakhtar Donetsk. He might be the next biggest import into the Premier League. Sudakov, I know folks are looking at, Serhei Palkin, the team president, was looking at $60 million for a transfer fee. He might be the next big name out of Shakhtar Donetsk. Albania is even looked at, and as a surprise. Won the qualifying group. They don't want the ball. Lets you make mistakes. Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania. Not expecting Greece 2004, but they could get to the knockouts. So you're looking at all of those as possible surprises. Group A, just to lay it all down for you. Germany, Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland. Group B, Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania. I know that you look at Croatia and you're sitting there thinking, God, Luka Modric, he's got to be like 9,000 years old. He is. Group C, Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, England. So they gave England the possibility of getting out in one piece. Group D, Poland, Netherlands, Austria, friends. Group E, Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine. Group F, Turkey, Georgia, Portugal, and the Czech Republic. Germany, captained by Ilkay Gundogan, champion 72, 80, and 96. The ranked number 16 in the world. Nagelsmann is the man in charge there. Scotland ranked number 39. Hungary ranked number 26. Marco Rossi is the manager. Dominik Szoboszlai we stare at with Hungary. And Switzerland ranked number 19. So this could be a really sneaky tough group. Switzerland with Granit Xhaka as your captain, Murat Yakin as your manager. Group B, Spain ranked number 8 under Luis de la Fuente, champs in 64, 08, and 12. Alvaro Morata will be working in the 4-2-3-1. A lot of folks are thinking maybe the quarters for Spain. Croatia ranked number 10 on the planet. Modric is actually 38. Quarterfinals, 96 and 08. That's their best performance in the Euros. 4-1, 4-1. Dalic will tweak it a little bit. Italy ranked number 9 under Spalletti, Donnarumma in net, champs in 68 and 2020. No real stars, but pressure will fall on Jorginho and Chiesa. Spalletti working out of a 4-3-3. No defending champ should be ruled out, but a lot of folks are maybe saying Italy's the quarterfinalist. Albania ranked number 66. We talked about Silvinha and Armando Broja out of Chelsea. Group C, Slovenia ranked number 57. Jan Oblak, their captain. They got to group stage in 2000. So Slovenia, a lot of folks are thinking nope in Group C. Denmark ranked number 21. Simon Kjær. Team captain Rasmus Højlund added to the mix. 5-3-2, 3-5-2. Serbia ranked 33rd under Dusan Tadic and Dragan Stojkovic being the manager. England ranked number 4. By the way, sidebar, the U.S. women's team dropped to number 5 in the most recent rankings that were put out early this morning. England ranked number 4 under Harry Kane. And, of course, the Telegraph says, yeah, they'll be the champs. Group D, Poland at number 28 in the planet under Lewandowski. But remember, Lewandowski's nursing an injury. We don't know how healthy he is going to be coming into the tournament. So keep an eye on Lewandowski. Probably going to be his last chance at an international tournament, and he's coming in dinged up. So we don't know how Poland is going to respond in their group. Netherlands ranked number 7. Ronald Koeman in charge. Virgil van Dijk, your captain. Champs in 88. Austria at 25 under Ralf Rangnick. Marcel Sabitzer, you got to keep an eye on that. But once again, remember the press. And France number 2. You want to talk about a group of death. 2, 25, 7, and 28. Somebody's not making it out of that group who's a top 30 team on the planet. Austria under Rangnick, France under Deschamps, Mbappe. Everybody's like, yeah, you'll get to the semis and then you'll lose because everybody in England is sitting there saying England's going to win. Therefore, you've got to beat France. France. I got to get that drop. Group E, Belgium under Domenico Tedesco, who's at 38 years old, is the manager of the national team. Kevin De Bruyne is at 32, so he's only 6 years younger than his manager, but obviously a lot of folks are going to be focused on Kevin De Bruyne. But they're only thinking quarters. Slovakia under Calzona, ranked number 48. They're thinking that Slovakia gets out of the group. Romania at 46. Radu Dragusin. A lot of folks saw him with Spurs. A lot of folks thinking that Romania didn't get out of the group. Ukraine made it to the quarters in 2020. Serhii Rebrov is managing this go-round. You look at Zinchenko, Mudryk, Yarmolenko. Talent is there. I think they get out of the group, and I think they make some noise. That's if you want to call Ukraine an underdog, I'll call Ukraine an underdog, and they'll be mine. Group F, Turkey, ranked number 40. Hakan Çalhanoğlu at Inter, going to be the team captain. Thinking that they get out of the group. Georgia ranked number 75. You damn right we're looking at Sava Lobjanidze and Kavichka Kvaratskhelia. But they're not thinking that Georgia gets out of the group. Portugal, Roberto Martinez gets to coach Cristiano Ronaldo. Sorry, CR39. I've erred in his age. 4-3-3 or a 4-1-4-1. A lot of folks are saying Portugal makes it to the last match of the tournament. I'm not so sure. Czech Republic at 36, Tomáš Souček. Going to be your focal point there, and they're thinking that the Czechs don't get out of the group. So maybe the weakest group of the bunch is going to be Group F. And the craziest group with all of those teams that are ranked top 30 is Group D. So Group D is probably one of the toughest if you go by world rankings. Then if you go by just competition, Group F is probably your group of death when you look at it that way. So you're looking at that for the Euros. Once again, Germany and Scotland today, and I know that we'll be getting into juice boxes as we go. No real shock. Bam says France is about to be without Mbappe after the group stage. And Tom says, speaking of Switzerland, I see Shaqiri wants out of Chicago. So not so big Shaq wants out of Chicago. Color me shocked. Since he came in, he's getting a boatload of money, but he's not setting the world on fire. Germany, obviously, a big favorite today at a minus 357 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Your 90-minute draws a plus 509. And Scotland, basically, north of plus 1,000. So if you had like a free buck or something and wanted to put it maybe on the draw, Jarrett and Bam, I'm sure, would be sitting there and putting a dollar or two on that plus 1042 in the composite. Put your life savings on Scotland. That's what Bam is saying. It's exactly what Bam is saying. And how bad will it be when Germany don't make it out of the group stage? Whew. That'd be pretty bad. Let's see. You mentioned Big Shaq, or not so Big Shaq. Hang on just a second. Let me see what he's making in Chicago now that you brought that up, Tom. Let's see. Chicago. Bang, bang. Shaqiri is making base $7,350,000 a year. Guaranteed compensation over 8.1. Courtesy of our friends at the MLSplayers.org and their salary guide. If I were Chicago and looking at rate of return, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting return for my money with not so big Shaq, paying him $8 million plus with compensation. And yeah, if I see that Tom sees he wants out of Chicago. Yeah. He ain't scoring, but he's making bank. He'll go back to Europe. But the thing is, if he goes back to Europe, unless he finds a league that, or a team that might be mid-table in a league someplace, I don't think he's going to be going to a big-name club. And if he wants to make $8 million a year, I don't think that he's going to be matching $8 million a year wherever he goes if he goes back home. That is the question for Not So Big Shaq. What do you want to do after this season? Knowing him, he probably wants out in the summer window so he can start a season overseas someplace. And if I'm Chicago, it might be something where you sit there and go, well, if we can get him off our books, then we can, maybe look at some of our younger talent that we have at Chicago Fire 2 that we've had the chance to look at with our coverage of Atlanta United 2 this year. There's some young kids there that are coming through the academy that might be a couple of years away. But if you get somebody to take Shaqiri off your hands, then you can take that money, reinvest it, and bring in other talent. But, yeah, Chicago right now next to last in the East, and it ain't looking good for the Fire in general. Frank Klopas, I think, is in tour number 3 as head coach in Chicago. So if Shaqiri wants out, maybe the Fire do him a solid and everybody goes away and you just walk away from the investment and sit there and go, man, we spent a lot of money. So we'll see what happens. And see what happens with Not So Big Shaq. I went out of Chicago. We'll see what happens there. Yes, Bam. Bam says, put your life savings on Scotland. Gamble responsibly. We do not refer to it as gambling. We refer to it as investing. Possibly investing. So see what's going on there with and Michael Head. It could be has one of the worst contracts in Major League Soccer. So fun to watch at Liverpool, not so much here. Wants out. I want out now. He's like Veruca Salt in the Willy Wonka movie. I want out now. Okay, Veruca. We'll just call him Veruca Shaq. Veruca Shaqiri. I want out now. That's what you're staring at. What are you most excited about with the Euros? A lot of folks are sitting there saying it's the passing of the baton, Tony Kroos, and one of the most handsome men on the planet, Olivier Giroud. It's their last Euro. Cristiano Ronaldo, 39. Luka Modric, 38. Passing of the torch. A lot of folks are thinking Spain versus Italy. Some folks are looking at upsets. Joao Neves is also being added to the list of breakout stars in this tournament. Scamacca, biggest surprise. A lot of folks are thinking that you're going to see a lot of goals scored. Goals, 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 they say. Austria with Ralf Rangnick is a surprise. A lot of folks are saying Serbia could be a surprise. Biggest flops. Here we go. Biggest flop. Italy is listed as a possibility of the biggest flop, and then you just heard that noise you heard was Nick losing his mind. The Azzurri arrive the same spot where they won the World Cup in 2006. Low expectations. So is it a flop if there are low expectations? I know you stare at a big name and you're like, well, yeah, they flopped. Well, yeah, because they're changing things out. I want to say it was the U23s or the U20s for Italy had a massive tournament just recently. So if there's a low expectation, can you still be a flop? Can Italy be a flop if there is no expectation? Netherlands could be a flop. Biggest flop could be England. Golden Boot winner, CR39 is a possibility. Harry Kane's a possibility. Mbappe's a possibility. Tournament final and champ, courtesy of the analysts at the score. They say France will beat Portugal. England beats Spain. France beats Germany. France beats Germany. I'm still trying to figure out this beer cap. I really am. 2.5%. It's not even 3 or 4. Not even 3 or 4. Just, man. That's 2.5, 3.5%. Just come on now. So it's been very, very interesting. We've got all of that stuff to look at. I still, like I said, I think that Group D is Group of Death, and Group F is the one that is the weakest of the 6. Bam says, watch Shaqiri have the worst Euro for a player and come back and say, I'm happy to play for Chicago. Because you're getting a paycheck. And you're getting a large paycheck, sir. You're getting a large paycheck. Massive. Massive, large, and otherwise big. I went out of Chicago. Yeah, can't wait for that to happen. So, player of the tournament, Toni Kroos, Florian Wirtz, Phil Foden, Kai Havertz, Kylian Mbappe. Surprises, Kvaratskhelia, George Mikhailtadze. Took me a second. Dovbyk, Bakayoko, Pedri, Jude Bellingham. See, that's a decent run. Which player will surprise? Oh, somebody from France. But this is a good, Kvaratskhelia, that's a good pull. Mikhailtadze, that's a good pull. So Georgia's got Kvaratskhelia, Mikhailtadze, and Sabalobjanidze. Say that 10 times fast. But yeah, this is a decent run. Artem Dovbyk for Ukraine. I like Sudakov to go with Ukraine. Bakayoko for Belgium. Spain, Pedri, Jude Bellingham. But is that a breakout star? Romelu Lukaku, is that a breakout star? Kai Havertz. Biggest dark horse potential, courtesy of our friends at the score, or at OneFootball. Hungary, Switzerland, Scotland, Ukraine, Turkey. See, this is a decent range of folks. Now, when it comes to their disappointments for them. Portugal, folks are wondering if they don't have the right balance under Roberto Martinez. Somebody's actually saying England will be the biggest disappointment in the Euro. You know that they are not based in England by saying that. One of the favorites for the tournament, but with the injuries and uncertainty, as well as seemingly too much talent to try to shoehorn into their front four, there's a lot that can go wrong. Belgium, England, Italy. Okay, so there is a lot of big names that could be the biggest disappointment. And the Euro winners, France. Wow, three of the five pundits said France. One said England, and one said. So four of the five said France, beating Spain in the final, and the fifth one said England, and that fifth one said that they were not going to be the one that was going to be bumped out early. So very, very interesting material there. Mats Hummels says leaving Dortmund. So Edin Terzic says he's leaving Dortmund after 13 years, after a disagreement with Mats Hummels, and then Mats Hummels is like, yeah, I'm out too. So who benefited on that one? That's a good question. Seems like no one benefited there. Washington Spirit say ticket sales for Saturday night versus San Diego at Audi Field have surpassed 17.5. Did you see that on the men's side, San Diego FC named Tyler Heaps their chief soccer officer? Give it a couple of seasons, I bet you Lindsey Horan ends up playing for the Wave. Just saying. Pushing for a sellout of 20,000. We mentioned that the U.S. had fallen to 5 in the rankings on the women's side. The European champs dropped to number 3 behind France. Spain stays at number 1. Big margin, too. 70 points in the composite. Spain, France, England, Germany, the U.S. They're the only teams over 2,000 points total, but Germany is a little under 3 points, 2.5 points ahead of USA in the point system in the world rankings, however that math is put together. Rest of the top 10, Sweden, Japan, Canada, Brazil, and the People's Republic of Korea. So that's your top 10 for women's. U.S. is the lowest ever ranking of 5th. Lowest ever ranking of 5th for the women's national team. Spain, France, England, Germany, and the U.S. right now on the women's side. Lowest that they've ever had. Lowest ranking that they have ever had. So keep an eye on the women as well. Once again, hour number 2, we're going to get into Major League Soccer. We'll get into all the matchups. Jason will join us at 9:30, and we'll break down everything with Atlanta United as Houston comes to town. Houston coming to town pretty much at full strength. They, I think Coco Carrasquilla is really the only starter that they won't have because he's getting ready for Copa, and I think there is a friendly involving Carrasquilla's involvement on Sunday, so I don't think that he will be in the building, but pretty much full strength as Houston Dynamo come to town. So that will be it'll be an interesting matchup for Atlanta to start things off in the Rob Valentino administration. Thank you. 10:30. I thought 9:30 Central. How about that, Abby? Was that enough of a dodge? Yeah. So Jason's coming in at about 10:30. And we'll see. Garza and Parky, Abby, they are doing summer dad things. Parky, I think, is at his son's travel baseball tournament. And Greg is spending time with his family and is doing I think he's doing the globetrotting, as we've been discussing with Greg, when it comes to his time with Major League Soccer and multicultural efforts for the league. And so with Greg traveling and a family and Parky traveling because he's got a baseball tournament, they get the week off. Yes, it is RV2. Not to be confused with RG3. This is RV2. RV 2.0. And Abby says the women will need to prove themselves, and they will. Yeah, I mean, once again, it's a time for transition. Time for transition involving the women's national team. And so we'll see how it continues to evolve there. Bam just before midnight. So that's right. Bam is 14 hours ahead. I always forget that 14, 15, 12, 13, whatever the number is. So Bam is 14 hours ahead of SDHHQ. And so Mon the Scots, Bam, it's good to see you, my friend. Great that you were here from Australia. And Abby is out trying to track down a Welsh flag for Carl Robinson to make Carl Robinson feel at home. But yeah, so Jason will be in at 10:30. When we turn hour number 2 in about 10 minutes, we'll discuss what's going on in Major League Soccer and go through the weekend whip around and all the other matchups. You'll also notice on the network that we've got our spring and summer 6-pack. They started to be released this morning with the USL Championship, League One, and the WPSL shows. On the WPSL show, you hear from our friends at Decatur FC and Campbell Chapman, their head coach. You also get to hear from Charlie Bernal and Robert Roddy from Georgia Impact after their 4-0 win the other night, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. So Championship, League One, WPSL, those shows are up. Later today, you will hear our USLW show, and we'll hear from our friends at SSA. Same in USL League 2. And also you'll hear our NPSL show where we get to catch up with Diane Smith from Bristol Rhythm about what it's like to navigate things as an owner. And you get to hear from Carlos Rubio, the head coach at Hickory FC, Johnny Mercado, the head coach at Apotheos. They've got the matchup against Bristol Rhythm coming up this weekend. And you also get to hear from, who is the other coach? Dale Parker from App FC. So those are the 3 shows coming out later today. Once again, 3 to 7, Lee and White, us getting you ready for the Euros. Maddie Cruz on the 1s and 2s is dripping in. And Maddie's the first guest that gets to come in, or the first part of the show that gets the new background.
Oh my God, I'm honored. I didn't know I would get the first. Oh,
yeah.
I'm so honored.
Yeah. So we broke out the new logo this morning at 9:00 on social media. And we got the new open. We scared folks with the new open of the show. It's like, what is this?
Oh no! They probably thought they were watching like a different like is this the right one?
Did I dial up the wrong channel? What did I do here? And so, but yeah, so it is a new logo and a new look. And once again, like I said, Jason dropping by in about a half hour to break things down and see what's going on with him as we get ready for Atlanta and Houston. FIFA made a point, and since our resident Hootie Hooer is now here on the show, FIFA released possible host sites for the 26 World Cup, and obviously the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground was mentioned. Kennesaw State included in that as well as a possible home site, the host site for clubs coming here to play in Atlanta in 2026. So nice, pretty pictures from our friends at FIFA involving 26 and your former university.
Listen, all I have to say, and Jarrett and Sophia can back me up on this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great day to be an owl.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the idea, because I believe I was told, is that for the Copa, I believe Argentina is training up at the Perch.
Okay.
So I believe that is what I have been told by friends who are at KSU and who are working there. I have been told that that's happening.
Okay.
So pretty cool. I don't know if that's actually true. You'll have to fact check me on that one.
Well, but I was going to say, now what you're doing is you're sending like 9,000 people on a daily basis up to Kennesaw, just looking to see if they can get any glimpse of the players.
Exactly. Well, because I when I saw the FIFA one, it made me think, because I was trying to think of like where these teams would be playing, especially in Atlanta, because you can't have 2 teams playing at Children's Healthcare.
No, that'd be bad.
You cannot do that, because obviously I just feel like that would be that wouldn't be.
I mean, it chews up the turf unless you're using multiple facilities and fields and things like that. And so you figure just having one team chew it up is plenty.
Yeah, and I mean, and it makes sense why it would be Kennesaw. I mean, I get it. You know, it's a great field. We saw it when the U.S. men's extended national teams, the CP team, was training there. It's a great field. That Perch up there. I would be curious if they would use Fifth Third itself, because it's a little bigger and it can kind of map a little bit more of what the stadium and what the field would look like. Mm-hmm. I'm not exactly sure though, but yeah, that's what I was told. But it's for sure going to be FIFA, at least for the World Cup, and that's pretty cool. Listen, great day to be an owl, even though we are ranked the worst team in CF 25 for the thing. But that just means rebuilding year. That's what that means. And taking them all the way to the national championship with the triple option.
Well, I mean, it's that what that does is, for those of you that get to play CF25, is it gives you the chance to rebuild the version of the program as you wish to say. And you can sit there and it's like, yeah, I want to do this, and this. I want to bring in these kinds of players. I want to open up the portal and welcome them all in. And then you get to go to Columbus and beat Ohio State at the Horseshoe. It just gives you more motivation in that kind of a sense.
Oh, exactly. I'm going to bring in so many random players you wouldn't even think of to come to KSU. I don't have the game. I'll have to like pry off of someone else's.
Well, we'll live vicariously through Jarrett more than anything else.
That's true. Yes, we will. But it's great. It's fun stuff.
Yeah, Abby. So, yeah, and that's the other thing. Ropes has got his lineup set for fantasy. Don't forget, set your fantasy for Major League Soccer. And remember that next week is a double match week, so you're going to have to do it quickly. So if you're not a part of the fantasy league, be a part of the fantasy league. Jason Wright with a W-A-G-E-N on Twitter, the Jason Wright with a W Agency on Facebook. And you can join and beat me on a weekly basis, and that should be enough motivation to jump in the fantasy league all your own. Rope set his lineup for, I'm guessing, for both fantasies with Major League Soccer and the Euro, and he is a far better man than I. Abby is telling everybody that she's hoping Argentina shows up at her favorite empanada place, Belen de la Cruz. Write it down. She said that Santi Sosa would go there regularly, but yeah, we had actually here at Office HD, we had Peruvian last night, and so we had chafa pollo here in the house with rather large empanadas. So I know exactly what Abby is chasing with her empanada-ness.
No, that's yummy.
And shocking no one, apparently the Tartan Army has taken over Munich train stations, and they're just all over the place. So no real surprise that they are absolutely taking over. We talked about the fear of missing out, FOMO, and I think the Scottish fans are certainly feeling FOMO. So they are all there. They're all there to make sure that even if they don't have a ticket, they're going to try and find a way in and make sure that they can see what in the wide world of sports is going on in that venue for the Euros here in 2024. Like I said, Lee and White, 3 o'clock for the start of the Euro. And the first match, obviously, with the home country in Scotland. And Bam came in like a house on fire at 9:05 this morning, 11:05 at night, local down in Australia. And he was singing Flower of Scotland. He was ready to go, Maddie.
As he should. There's so many things. Me and my dad have talked about this so many times.
Okay.
The Euros is arguably my favorite competition to watch ever. It is so fun. I love it. Copa is a second behind it, but I love the Euros. I'm so excited for it to start today.
Okay, so Nick, let me ask you this. With today being the start of the Euros, we went through the groups and reminded everyone who's in group and who's where and all this. I'm seeing stuff involving Italy like they won't make it out of group. They'll be the biggest flop, or they'll get out of group and they'll cause problems. What is your read on your country, sir?
Well, we honestly have no idea. We don't know. We don't know. Man, look. Look at this group, okay? You have Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania, right? Now,
we talked about Albania and their algorithm, man.
Right. So, any other time, people would be like, oh, yeah, man, it's Albania. We're going to roll. Yeah, this is coming from a team that has lost out on 2 World Cup qualifying cycles with losses to North Macedonia. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But this is also a team that was expected to be out in the group stages in the previous Euros. But they had a long unbeaten streak, but everyone was saying, well, Italy's inconsistent. They could be out in the group. Who knows? And they ended up winning the whole damn thing. So, and to the rest of the world, you're welcome, because we didn't have to hear English people singing "It's Coming Home" endlessly.
But I thought it was, Nick.
Well, look, man, this is what happens when you run a team on the power of friendship, like Italy was doing.
friendship.
and we were able to save the world. Okay,
Yes.
That's the thing. But look, we don't know. Look, Italy is like huffing bath salts while wearing Armani suits. They're like, it could go anywhere. The evening's just beginning.
Man.
Yeah, it's a mountain of cocaine and a soccer ball. There's zero idea of where this is going.
I mean, you're making a mess of an Armani suit if you're huffing bath salts, brother.
Well, that's the whole point, is that you put on some Italo disco, okay,
Yeah.
which the Italo disco channel on Pandora is spectacular, by the way. But if you put that on and then dress in your finest suits, get about 6 or 7 lines down and hit the town, you have an idea of what Italy's tournament's going to be like. It's either going to be the greatest night of your life, or you are going to end up in some like Western Paulding County prison jail thing under the jail. There's no telling how this could go.
Wow, man.
It's
also,
exciting.
hi Nick, I haven't seen you in a while.
Hi Maddie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Just dandy, thanks.
I just realized as you were talking, I was like, oh, this is like the first time in like a couple months that me and Nick have like been on the show at the same time.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Right now I'm prepping my retro Italy gear. Trying to decide if we're going to wear it for like a week or
I think that answers your question.
Yeah. Like, is it going to be a week or is it going to be a month? We don't know. Yes, Airborne. I still listen to Pandora because I refuse to pay for Spotify. I refuse to use Spotify because I believe I don't have a microwave in my home either. I refuse to have a microwave in my home because I believe that some things just don't need to be messed with. Okay. Parchments written with blood don't need to be messed with.
Correct.
Yanni albums don't need to be messed with.
Especially
Billy Joel
the early ones, especially the early Billy Joel and early Yanni.
Yeah, we don't need to mess with those things, and we just leave those things alone. We don't mess with those. Like old books that have strange, alien writings on them that you find in some like random gift shop somewhere. You don't mess with those.
You do not purchase them or check them out.
Correct. As we learned in the movie Hellraiser, you don't get random weird Jenga looking small blocks to play with either.
No,
we just don't mess with these things, man. If you watch movies in the 80s, you knew this. Maddie, thank God, does not have to deal with the generational trauma that we've had to deal with, John.
But, you ain't kidding, brother.
But yeah, look, man, we don't mess with these things, man. Yeah.
No.
2010 was a good year. 2010 was a good year.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. Maddie was in elementary school, I think, in 2010, if my math is correct. Yes. And Hutch is absolutely correct. Microwaves are known spy portals.
That's correct. Yes.
Absolutely true.
They changed the flavor of food.
What is the hatred with microwaves?
It changes the consistency and flavor of your food.
Yes, you're talking to a master chef, Maddie, and that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No.
I wouldn't go as far to say master chef, but I am someone who I take food very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who's 5'5", when I was a single lad and I had a dating profile, I said I am 5'5", not 5'6", not 5'7". I'm very real about my about my size. I have to be very careful because I can go from 5'5" to 5 wide very quickly, but at the same time, I'm very serious about food. Microwaves will alter your food. It'll take it from tasting unbelievably delicious to something that is like horribly shoe leather in texture and consistency.
Correct.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
See, and as someone who eats a lot of microwave food, I know of what you speak because a lot of it does taste like cardboard.
John, I have offered to help you.
I know.
I've offered for years to help you with this.
I know. And I know folks are sitting there saying, we got to get this stuff on tape so John can sit there and see what it's like to have someone, worth their farthings cook in the kitchen.
Look, I'll come over. We'll make cacio e pepe. We'll make some simple stuff that you can make, and stuff that's tasty.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, let me ask you this, since we're on a Euro, we're on the Euro riff here. Jason's
Okay.
going to join us in about 20 minutes, and we'll talk Major League Soccer. What about Austria, sir? What do you think about Austria and what they might be bringing to the table with an individual in particular? Who is their coach?
Here's the thing when it comes to Austria, I don't think they're bringing anything that Europe's not ready for.
Okay.
Like, what are you going to bring that Europe hasn't seen now? Like, we could talk about heavy pressing and things of that sort.
Mm-hmm.
Who is not prepared for that now? Everyone's prepared for it now. It's something that you see pretty regularly. A lot of the players in this tournament, especially at the higher levels, like if you play in the Prem, right, you had to deal with Liverpool for God knows how long. So you Prem, so you know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you are one of the top players in Germany, you sure as hell know what they're doing. It's the same thing in Austria. So I think they're in a good group. France is going to be France. France. I think they're kind of wacky, schizophrenic days are not behind them, but I think they're tempered for the moment. They have enough talent to overcome that.
Okay.
The Dutch, you don't know what you're getting out of the Dutch either. They're either going to be really scary or they're going to be just horrible. Poland is one of those teams that they are a boom bust as well. So I think Austria could sneak out, but I just think that we're getting to a place now where, like, any sort of heavy pressing, you're going to have option B. Mm-hmm. You have to have option B. You cannot do like we're just going to press. Okay, well, what happens when we get tired? Well, we're going to press more.
Yeah, we're going to press some more.
Right. Okay, well, what happens if they give us the ball? We're going to press. We can't press when we have the ball. So what are we going to do? You have to have an option B. And the question is how dogmatic will Austria be in their approach? Right? That's the biggest issue here. It's the same issue that's haunted Rangnick acolytes forever, which is how devoted to that system are you?
Okay. So, all right. Rapid fire with the two of you. When it comes to the Euros here, like I said, we'll get into Major League Soccer coming up in about 20 minutes. Maddie, who wins the Euros?
Oh, Jesus. Oh God, I have no idea. Wrong.
I've stunned her, Nick.
You did. Because I feel like I always have like a couple that I really do think could go far, and then just
what's your gut tell you? Put all of your guts right there on the table. What does your gut tell you? First response. Who?
France or Germany.
Okay.
Maddie, I'm going to put a name out there, and I will bathe in my wrongness. Italy's winning it again, back to back, back to back. Nobody thought we could do it before. Chiellini.
Oh, I remember that final.
Yeah, it was
a great final. It was
nerve-wracking. I was a mess. I think, I don't know. it's just a gut feeling, baby. We're going to do it again.
There you go. All right.
We're going to run it back.
Since this is a snake draft, Nick, who's the biggest disappointment?
Italy will be the biggest disappointment.
They'll win the whole thing, but then be the biggest disappointment.
Yes, it's going to be one of the two. I don't know. Really, I think one of the biggest disappointments, will be the Dutch. Domestically, the league is a mess. There's a lot of topsy-turvy going on with the teams in that league. That has a downward pressing effect on talent development. And I think that the Dutch are more history than they are present. So there's a lot of what was versus what is.
Maddie, biggest. So who's the biggest flop?
Ooh, I mean, I think I might have to go with Nick too. I think the Dutch.
Okay.
I think I just they haven't been organized at all. Like it just kind of is just crazy. And I don't think if they do make it through, it'll literally be by sheer luck that they make it through the group stage.
All right. Maddie, Golden Boot. So who scores the most goals?
Oh my gosh.
Bellingham, Mbappe, Cristiano Ronaldo to see our 30.
Oh, Mbappe. Are you kidding?
Okay.
Mbappe. But for the fun answer, Saba.
There you go. Saba Lobjanidze will score more than Kvaratskhelia and do more goals on the Georgian side than his buddy who plays in Serie A. Nick, Golden Boot.
It's going to be Mbappe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
he's got something to prove. In Real Madrid, he's going to Real Madrid. He's, I think, emotionally free of PSG. And when you have a player who's emotionally free, because it for a lot of players, they would have like, oh, it's Real Madrid, oh, the money, the glamour, the life. The man has lived like a king for God knows how long in Paris. He's had more money than God. He has, he has access to all the, all devices humanly available. Real Madrid it's a heavy shirt to wear, but at the same time, if there's anybody who's prepared for it, it's going to be Mbappe. And I think he's been itching for so long to get out of Paris that finally he's free, and a free Mbappe is terrifying.
yes.
I'm interested to see how Portugal does in the Euros, at least their run in the Euros, because
yes,
I'm really intrigued to see like what happens with that, because we've seen it, like they kind of have been on a down roll spiral a little bit. Like it's been kind of up and down and very like inconsistent. And also too, with Ronaldo, it being possibly his last one, it's,
he's going to play until he's 72 and Portugal's going to let him do it.
I'm really interested to see their run in the Euros. That's another team that I'm just like, I won't be rooting for, but I'll be like looking at and being like, what are you going to do? I'm curious.
So then, Maddie, let me ask you this. Who are you tired of seeing on the European world stage? Who drives you the craziest when it comes to seeing a player who plays in Europe that will be in this tournament?
That plays in Europe?
Yeah. Who in this tournament that drives you the craziest?
It is Portugal, in my opinion. Because I feel like there's a lot of,
so Cristiano Ronaldo drives you crazy, yet you want to see how intriguing he's going to be for Portugal.
Exactly. And I think that's why it's annoying, because I feel like it's always the message whenever you have like Ronaldo playing in this tournament. There's always that like undenying thing. Like, I'm looking at some of just the predictions for it. In Group F, they have Portugal going undefeated in their thing, which, hey, it's possible. They got Turkey, Georgia, and Czech Republic in their group, but also too, I'm like, look at the facts. They haven't been the best. And so I'm annoyed because I feel like there's always a constant like looking at Portugal like they hung the moon, especially with Ronaldo. And you just know that they're going to like win a game by 1-0, and like everyone's going to be like, oh my God, Portugal's winning the whole thing. This is it. Like, and I'm just going to be like, no, no, we know what happened.
So Nick, who drives you the craziest that it's going to be in this tournament from a talent standpoint?
Like they're good, or they are like, they drive me crazy because I'm tired of hearing about things.
They drive you crazy because you're tired of hearing about them.
Belgium. I'm tired of hearing they are the Jean-Claude Van Damme of international soccer. Like he's trying to be Sylvester Stallone. He's trying to be Schwarzenegger. It never happens. Your movies are all direct to DVD or like direct to streaming. It's like one Tubi disaster after the other. I'm tired of hearing about how this Belgium team has a golden generation and this is their last shot. It's been their last shot for the past 2 freaking tournaments. And they've blown it. And I'm tired of hearing about them. I'm tired of ESPN propping them up. I'm tired of all these other international pundits talking, propping them up. Oh, I think Belgium's going to. I'm tired of hearing it. They blew it. They had a window, and it slammed down on their fingers like Looney Tunes. I've had it with Belgium.
And so then, Nick, let me ask you this. Since you had it with Belgium, outside of your home country and keeping an eye on Austria, what team do you think can come up and bite some folks in the butt? And this would be like the debutante walks into the junior prom and gets named homecoming queen. Who gets that surprise? Who's
Turkey.
Turkey? Okay.
Yeah, Turkey. The way Turkey plays, it's like a chainsaw in a phone booth. They are. They have the ability. And here's the thing: their league is they a lot of those Turkish players, they have something to prove, right? Because there's a significant downward slant toward Turkey in the European mindset, where they say, okay, well, Turkey may be a part of Europe, from a geopolitical standpoint, but they are not ethnically European. And the Turkish players look at that as a giant middle finger or two fingers up toward them, depending on where you're from.
Yes.
And I think they come into these tournaments soaking themselves in gasoline and running with a handful of matches, and they're ready to set the whole tournament on fire if they have to. So Turkey to me is the team that could be the shocker of them all.
Okay. So Jarrett, how hype are you today? How many times have you sung Flower of Scotland this morning?
I feel fine today, thank you.
Okay.
Mostly because I'm very busy.
You're avoiding the match coming up at 3:00 Eastern time.
I have enough things going on in my life, and I don't have citizenship, so my how much I let it ruin my day is going to be limited. Because It's the same approach that I have to Atlanta United or just about any team in this hemisphere and in my sphere of suffering.
Yeah.
The game is on. The game is going well. Yay. The game is going poorly. Boo. The game is over. Well, that stank. Well, that was great. Choose your own adventure there. All right. It's been 2 hours since the game. I have other things I can do with my time. I have a busy schedule in my life on a daily basis. I don't have time to just be angry about something I can't control.
Well, and apparently the entire country of Scotland has made their way to Germany.
Yeah, that part was funny. The entire country of Scotland appears to be there and in full voice. Because I don't know how they'll do, but they're going to have a good time while they're there, which is really, I think, all you can ask for, aside from like some drunken ass Italian run through the tournament again, like we got in 2021. Basically, I think you get to a certain point and everybody's kind of like, you know what would be great? What if somebody just popped up and thumped England on the head at the most inopportune time just to make the suffering a little bit longer and a little bit funnier? Garrett Southgate has to be in hell too, because he's not won this trophy.
No, and he knows that if he doesn't, he's probably done as England manager. And we are. This is where we all over here on this particular continent, we wait until the end of the month. We wait another week before hell breaks loose with the United States dealing with the Copa America. We get to stare at the Europeans for a week.
I ask the question though. England. I'm gonna ask you the Auburn question.
Uh-oh.
Get rid of him. Who are you going to hire?
Correct. So you're saying that Gareth Southgate could be Brian Harsin in this equation?
No, I think Gareth Southgate is Gus Malzahn in this equation.
Malzahn. He wins at the absolute last possible moment to keep his contract up and running, and then they renew him.
But what does he win? Because of Gareth Southgate, I think he's been a very good manager for England over the last 2 cycles. But anyone here, sing along if you know the words here. How many trophies has the man won? Correct.
I believe that would be the Yeah, basically it's this at the end of every tournament.
Good day. Good.
Yes, good day.
Well, here's the thing. England, the problem with England isn't the English team. It's the English fans, the English media. That's the problem. And you've got really young players who, after the last tournament, I was not like, I was thrilled that Italy won, but the minute those poor kids boffed those penalties, you knew what was coming. You knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And Netflix has a great documentary on that final, like the attack on Wembley, where it really shows how freaking bat blank crazy those fans were.
Mm-hmm.
And I
remember hearing about the documentary, Nick. I've been meaning to watch it.
Good. It's really, really good. But when you have those young players and they know what's coming if they screw up, which is nonstop abuse, right?
Yeah.
Nonstop. Does that help you play better or worse? And when you have that sort of Damocles hanging over your head, at some point you're just like, it's just not worth it. Forget it. It becomes too much. And I think that's what a lot of the English players have over their heads. They have the talent to win it all? Yes, in spades. They have the ability to run this tournament roughshod, but mentally they don't, because they have that sort of Damocles hanging over their heads, because that very loud, psychotic wing of British support and, of course, the insane British media make it where it's completely impossible for them to thrive. So, Dr. Heal Thyself. If England wants to win tournaments, back the blank off this team and let them just play, because that's the only way it's going to happen.
But that's not going to happen because of the folks that want to pat themselves on the back and sit there and go, well, I'm a true fan and I'm going to speak my piece and I'm going to be loud and boisterous and obnoxious about it and have to buy twice the 2.5% beer in Gelsenkirchen if I'm going to want to even do something. I'm not a true fan if I don't speak my mind, and that always happens. And that's why, sadly, we have the stupidity down here segment, is because people get stupid when it comes to their fandom.
Well, they had like in the documentary, not to give too many spoilers, they interview an Italian man who lives in England, and he married an English woman. The daughter is like a great many of us. She was trying to navigate where her allegiances will lie. And she was saying, okay, well, I live in England. Mommy's English, daddy's Italian. And they, the dad and the daughter got tickets for the final. And the English fans were so psychotic, like going after them nonstop, that a group of Italians came and just grabbed him and pulled him into their ranks to help protect them. And at the end of it, the dad says, I feel very good by this, because the English fan make her more Italian. Now she's wears the blue shirt now, because they were so crazy that the girl's like, yeah, I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So,
can we talk about how great that summer of 21 was for comedic reasons? Because you have Italy making that run with, frankly, an old team.
Ancient, vecchio.
Like, if that team were any older, they'd have dug them up and had to stop expanding the subway in Rome, because they would have found the team in there and had to call in the archaeologists. In that same summer, you had the movie Luca drop, which is an underrated, just very weird Italian animated Disney movie. Yes. Also, that's the same season that Giuseppe won British Bake Off. An Italian man won the Great British Bake Off.
Yes.
That was the summer of the Italians.
And Eurovision. And you won Eurovision. The Brits were like apoplectic. They were going full Chernobyl.
I worry that the Italians don't know how good they had it in the summer of 2021.
We get it. Trust me. It is. Like it was the ultimate. It is the ultimate. Like that was our moon landing, right? Like 06 was incredible, but the ability to just thumb it in the eye of one group repeatedly was just spectacular.
We won your baking show. We won Eurovision. We won the Euro in your stadium.
Well, but how do we know that this moon landing for Italy didn't happen on a soundstage, and that really Tom Skerritt was and James Brolin and Elliot Gould weren't all a part of a big conspiracy, sir?
I don't even care. It's the Stephen A. Smith. We don't care. We don't care. Because it was like, I think the British Bake Off was the one that really cooked them outside. It was like the Euros and the British Bake Off. Eurovision, they were like, okay, fine, but to have Paul Hollywood, shake the hand of a proper Italian gent repeatedly on the show, and then the giant baking tray to them was magnificent. We were all in full here at Casa Alifi. We were in full Italian gear. I had my 96 Nike retro kit on.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Fresh had on his Insigne kit. The Duchess had on her little Italy jersey, and even the Good Doctor had on a blue shirt as well. And so when Giuseppe won, I may or may not have launched myself physically off the couch and like swanton bombed my own floor as a result. That's how big it was. And the air fryer is awesome. I support the air fryer, by the way. Chime in on the chat.
Yeah.
The only step you're missing here is like the Italian moon landing being faked by Roberto Benigni or something.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It would have been a Ferrari. Like the thing is that the Italian moon landing would have had they would have landed a Ferrari, like an airtight Ferrari on the moon, and they would have had space suits designed by Prada.
Of course.
Like that's how that would have gone down.
Absolutely.
And people would have complained because it wasn't a Lamborghini.
Yes. Absolutely true. All right, so now
it's better than landing a Fiat because the damn thing would still be up there. It broken down before they got it off the moon.
That's true. This is very true.
All right, so now we add the fifth member into the party line here for the final half hour of the show, or as long as he wants to hang out with us. Jason, you see what you've gotten yourself into this morning?
What is happening on this show?
I don't know. I mean,
we turned in soccer over there.
Yeah, we did.
Is it even soccer over there?
Here? Is this my first soccer over there? This is great.
Accidentally, yes. Soccer over there doesn't happen on purpose. It is a naturally occurring element.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honored.
I am lobbying for a soccer over there comeback for the upcoming season, though. I am lobbying for it, and we will hopefully make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been requests for it as well for Euro coverage, just because it's the Euros and because the sickos potential for the Euros is frankly cataclysmic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we've been spending basically the first hour and a half of the show discussing the Euros, and then Nick and Jarrett and Maddie went sideways talking about the Euros. Before we get into Atlanta United, Houston, and anything else that's on the collective mind, Jason, the Euros are coming today. Obviously, we're going to be in West End, some of us from 3 to 7, looking at the tournament opener involving Scotland, who's a plus 1050, and the juice box is going up against the home side in Germany from 30,000 feet. What are you thinking with the Euros here?
I think it's actually good for Scotland that they get their toughest game in the group out of the way. All the emotion of the opener, go ahead and just get it out of the way. I don't think it'll be easy for Germany, but this is a German team that has started to really grow into what Julian Nagelsmann wants them to be. I think they get the win today, but I think with Scotland getting that game out of the way, they need to do what they didn't do in the last Euros. They need to play more on the front foot. They have the ability to play more on the front foot. They can't be so reactive against the other teams in the group because Scotland is right there with them. They need to play like a team that expects to advance, not a team that's happy to be there. Germany, look, different situation today, but I think in the next 2 games, Scotland has to take the initiative. They have the quality to do it.
All right. So since we believe here in chivalry on the show, and it is a Friday, that means that Maddie gets to ask the next question for Jason. Could be Euros, could be MLS, could be Atlanta United. We're going to play potpourri for however long Jason wants to put up with us. So, Maddie, your first question for Jason as we get ready for the weekend.
Well, listen, I feel like I could ask you this just like, in a text or something, but who are you rooting for the Euros?
Who am I rooting for? It's actually a good question. It's a weird tournament. Like, I don't have a European country that I root for. So, like, Argentina and the Copa America, forget it. And the U.S., obviously. Those are the 2 that I'm rooting for. In the Euros, I don't have that as much. So it's teams that I like the way that they want to play. I like, their style. There might be certain players that I like. This tournament just feels weird in terms of trying to pick favorites and what to expect out of it, because all the odds makers have England as the favorite. I don't buy that. I don't believe in them. I picked France to win it just because they're kind of a machine at this point, and they always get to finals. And I feel like they have the best player going in the tournament in Kylian Mbappe. I've always liked Spain and what they've tried to be. The last couple tournaments, they haven't exactly been the most thrilling. It's been more of the 2012 Spain variety that is a little more just like use the ball to control games from a defensive standpoint, as opposed to being, yeah, exactly. It can work, but it hasn't been exciting. I do think the Spain team with Lamine Yamal could be a really fun one to watch. You got a 16-year-old, just absolute live wire for Spain. And if he gets going, he gives them that moment of danger that they just haven't always had. I think they've been able to find ways to make it up. Fernando Torres, going back to 2008, he was amazing. So Spain's the one that I kind of want to root for. I need to see how they play first. Italy's going to be another interesting one. And Nick, you tell me, because nobody is thinking Italy has any chance of being in the mix of this. They didn't think that last time either, and they won the thing. I don't think this Italian team is as good as the previous ones, but I love Spalletti as a manager. I want to root for them too, but I don't know if they're quite ready for that yet.
The questions earlier that were posed to me were, who do you think is going to win? I said Italy. And then, who do you think is going to be the greatest disappointment? And I said Italy.
Yeah, that sounds about right for you.
There's no.
That is also a very common belief for the French national team too. That the French are
not anymore. No, that's old school.
I know.
That's an old school mentality. Didier Deschamps does not have them in that mentality anymore. It's been a decade.
I know, but that's what I'm getting at. Is that was so much fun with France before Deschamps kind of stabilized them, because it was either we're going to make a final or you're going to make a 30 for 30 about the disaster that's about to take place.
Yeah, and then Deschamps comes in and he just makes them ruthless.
Yeah. Well, that's what's missing with Italy, is there's this level of I think when you had Chiellini in the back for Italy, you had a ruthlessness back there that somebody
ask Bukayo Saka about it.
Yeah, and that we're going to win no matter what, and we don't have that at the moment. And so I think Chiesa is going to have to decide, now that he's free of Allegri, he wants to prove himself to be. He's 26, wants to prove himself to be a top player in the world. He knows that this is his chance to do it. So this is going to be, Scamacca is the same thing. How these guys who claim to be, in a better headspace than they were even previously in the last tournament, where are they now? And Donnarumma, can he free himself from some of the idiotic mistakes like what he had against North Macedonia, where he inexplicably lets things past him. Like there's moments where he just shuts off mentally and they get burned. But then there are moments where it's like, okay, he's going to get killed here. And he puts on like an epic show. So Donnarumma is going to have to be a machine. Chiesa is going to have to become that sort of razor's edge for this squad. And if no one's expecting Italy to do anything, I can tell you who will be expecting Italy to do something, and that is Germany. If Italy gets out of this group, because the last time Italy was not expected to do too terribly much, the Italians ran the Germans off the field in Dortmund. So the Germans are well aware of what Italy can do, whether they are heralded or not. So, every team has their boogeyman. Italy is Germany's boogeyman.
Yep.
So it's going to be an insane tournament. And I am not mad that we're playing in Germany, because Italy tends to do very well when we're there.
It's going back to Maddie's question. Like, I kind of want to see who emerges in this tournament for me as a total neutral in this one. I don't have any affinity for a certain country in the Euros. It's teams that kind of capture me, and you guys know what I like in the game and what kind of styles I like in the game, but I love underdog stories too. And I just, out of the 5 teams that are the biggest favorites coming into this thing, England and France and Germany and Portugal and Spain, every one of them's got questions. Every one of them has serious questions. I don't think there is like one just no problem. This is the favorite. They're going to win it. I don't think this tournament's like that. And somebody could make a run. I don't think it will be a Greece 2004 run that will bore us all to tears and make us want to throw things. But then it's like so crazy that they get to the final that you end up flipping and rooting for them. I don't think it's like that. But I wonder who it could be, and I don't know. And I just posted our preview on Atlanta Soccer tonight on Off the Woodwork for the Euros, and Jessica Charman will be joining me a bunch during the tournaments this summer to talk about them. She sent in her predictions, and her surprise team of the tournament was Austria. And I'm sure Nick and the press is all excited about that.
Yes.
But yeah, like, that's one where they're missing a bunch of guys, but it's not about the individuals. It's about the collective. And that's a very different style in a tournament like this. They've been successful with it. How does it go in this tournament? They could be one of those teams that just catches everybody by surprise and makes a run and ends up becoming the darlings of this thing by the end of it.
All right.
I think it's Turkey. I said it earlier. I think it's Turkey that is going to shock a lot of people.
I don't have them getting out of the group, actually. That was my boldest prediction on the preview.
I get it. I understand. I'm just saying that and Jason, I want you to prepare yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Gird the loins here.
Oh, geez.
Whoa.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
This is SOT. Wow.
Prepare yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think Austria is the position that everyone wants to put them in. I think is not quite the same, because everybody in Europe knows how to deal with this now. If you play in the Prem and you're used to going against Liverpool, you know how to handle the press. If you are in Germany, you sure as hell know how to handle the press. Austria sure as hell know how to handle the press. I think that it is not like it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, where people were like, oh my God, we're being pressured in the back. And now it's like, okay, yeah, we know what to do now. And that's why I think you got to have a plan B. Oh my God, Jason, I've come around. You've got to have a plan B. I don't know if Austria has a plan B, because it depends on how devoted and how dogmatic Austria wants to be with their process.
I think what it comes down to for them, I think they get out of the group. And I think the biggest reason why is the injuries to Poland and the Dutch. And it's not a knock on Austria. I don't want to diminish them, because I think their pressing style will give them something different. I think it's really going to work against those two. Because in that group, you look at it, France is going to win the group. If France doesn't win the group, then yeah, they are going to do the 30 for 30 about it, because something crazy's gone wrong.
Yep.
And then it's the Dutch, and it's Austria, and it's Poland. Poland's missing Lewandowski in game 1. You can't really expect him to do much in the group stage if he's going to miss the first game completely. The Dutch are missing all kinds of guys. Frankie de Jong is the biggest name in that midfield. They're missing a couple of their center backs, although the Dutch have more center backs than every team in the world, it seems like. They're missing a bunch of other guys. Like, with what they have, the Dutch should play a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3. They should play 3 center backs. When you're missing center backs, you're missing Sven Botman and Jurrien Timber. And you're still able to play Van Dijk, Nathan Ake, and Matthias de Ligt. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you should play all 3 of them. And you've got depth behind them. But you don't have a left wing back. And you're kind of stuck with potentially playing Daley Blind as a left wing back. And Jarrett's faster than Daley Blind.
Yes, that is true.
I think that might be a good race, actually.
Yeah, I was about to say you're actually setting up a really fun event.
Yeah, we might have to make this happen one way or another. So I just think they're going to struggle. They might have to go kind of anti-Dutch and throw Wout Weghorst up top and just bomb it long and do those sorts of things. Maybe that's how they deal with Austria's press. But I think Austria can beat the Dutch. I think they can beat Poland, who are both diminished, and get out of the group. But then I'm with you, Nick. They're going to get found out because they're missing David Alaba, who's one of the best players in the world, period. You're missing him in a big, big way because he's the kind of guy that once you get into those bigger games and your plan B might be relying on individual talent, you're missing probably your most talented player who can get forward and be that joker that changes things up.
But let me ask you about a team that we've given a lot of attention to for the last 12 years that is in the Belgians, in a team that is, there's a couple of holdovers from guys that are getting older,
there are.
Witzel's 35 now, but with this younger crop of Belgians coming through, and it's not the trademark golden generation that we were sold on for 12 years, but do they maybe start to find something with some of that pressure off?
I'm starting to talk myself into that. I'm really starting to talk myself into that. Like, they have a group that it's Ukraine, it's Romania, it's Slovakia. Belgium should be fine there. And, you've got De Bruyne, who can be your 10, and you can protect him with guys behind him. So you're just asking him to impact the game there. I think what turns for Belgium outside of, I think Roberto Martinez maybe takes too much criticism at times. Like, he's a good manager. I don't know if he's a great one. He didn't wreck Belgium. He wasn't the problem. But with a fresh look at it from Tedesco and with the wingers that they have, because they have fresh legs out wide that are just so different and game-changing, with Jeremy Doku, who was one of the most rampaging players in the Premier League coming into Manchester City, and then Johan Bakayoko on the other side from PSV, who could have went to Nottingham Forest and intelligently said no, and he stayed and had 14 goals, 14 assists in all competitions. You've got 2 guys who are fast, who are great in the 1v1s, and who can make things happen when everything is kind of static and the game isn't really going anywhere. Doku and Bakayoko can flip it on its head. And that's something that Belgium hasn't had as much of. I also really like Leo Trossard up top. Belgium, now that it's flipped for them and it's like they're the number 1 team in the FIFA rankings, they should win everything. They should win the World Cup. Oh, no, they're not going to do any of those things. They're actually going to bomb out early. Now nobody's expecting them to really make that kind of a run, and they might actually do it.
Lukaku, weirdest golden boot ever. Let's get weird.
There you go.
It could happen. He had a great qualifying campaign.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, it could absolutely happen.
Yeah. All right, let's transition to Atlanta United Major League Soccer for 15 minutes because we've got that. We can whip around and discussing our new pretty look before we get out of here on a Friday. Maddie, your first question for Jason involving Atlanta United, Houston, and Major League Soccer. It's all yours.
Again, I keep getting the first questions. This is great.
Ladies
My first question led into the spiral. The first question led into the spiral that was the Euro conversation. So that's my soccer over there cap for the day.
There you go.
Oh, I mean, obviously with Rob checking in as the head coach and what we've seen at practice, what do you think is going to be the biggest point of emphasis, especially going into a Houston Dynamo on Saturday?
I think it's going to be winning duels. I think it's going to be fight and showing it. And it's twofold. I mean, one, I think that's something that you want to try to make happen tactically with this group is, especially on the defensive side of the ball, higher up the field. You want to win the ball back higher up the field. I think in Gonzalo Pineda's time with Atlanta United, they were at their best when they were able to counter press by building up the play effectively and being close together. So then the ball turns over and you can actually outnumber the opponent and win it back quickly. And then they're completely destabilized and falling apart and you go forward. The counter press is so important. But then also winning your duels, winning your 2v1s, creating 2v1s, winning your 1v1s, and just those kinds of moments where you can generate of feeling out of the crowd. You can generate some momentum. I think this team in the last month or so, especially at home, has looked like they've been burdened by pressure, burdened by maybe stuff in their own heads. I don't know, but just burdened by the results. And they haven't played in that free manner. And now you have to do two things. You have to play in a free manner. So you have to make runs off the ball. You have to move a lot. But you also have to have the reaction to the fact that a coach that was very well liked in that locker room, a coach that was very well respected, lost his job. And you can say whatever you want. And I know it's easy to blame coaches when results aren't good. That's the knee jerk thing to do is blame the coach, fire the coach, everything changes. You do see reactions when coaches lose their jobs. So the new coach bounce is something that you look for. I think in this case, what you're going to get out of that bounce, it's not that players didn't want to play for the previous manager at all. It's that players are going to feel like I failed him and now I can't fail the new guy because they have a ton of respect and love for Valentino as well. And that happens with assistants, right? Where assistants generally, and not always, and I don't think it was always the case in this situation, assistants can be good cops to head coaches, bad cops. And a lot of times you see that. So the assistant is the friendlier face and the one who builds those more personal relationships with players in the locker room. And I think Rob Valentino's done that over the years. He's been here almost since day one. So you have that feeling with the veterans in this team, like they have grown up in the squad around Rob as well. They don't want to let him down, like ultimately, and it wasn't intentional, but they let Gonzalo down. And that's a real feeling. That's a human feeling. I know we want to run away from that kind of stuff at times and blame people and yell and scream and hashtag out. I know that's the easy stuff to do, but you're talking about human beings. And a lot of times, and I'm sure all you guys have been in a situation at some point when your back's against the wall and people have counted you out in various things. And that's what people are doing to Atlanta United because they are where they are in the table right now. You come out fighting. And I think this team's going to come out fighting. I think they are. Now, they've got to win those fights. That's the part you can't guarantee. You can get into 1v1s and 2v1s and 2v2s all day, but you got to win them. And you've got to go score goals. But I think you're going to see a team that looks different in that regard. I don't think the tactics are going to be wildly different. I think you're going to have maybe more counter-pressing moments to turn teams over and create those manufactured transitions. I think that's something to look for. But more importantly, it's going to be that different kind of fight. Maybe it's more of a desperate fight because you got to pick up points in the table and you can't let your new manager down. And I think this team's going to come out swinging.
Nick, for Jason, go.
Are you thinking that there's going to be any sort of formational shift at all with under Rob to try to create a bit more stability via formation?
No, I don't think so. I think they're pretty fluid formationally, honestly. We saw them over the years, and Rob was part of the staff, so I mean, he knows all of the conversations, and with whether that's with players, whether that's amongst the staff at that time, of the pros and cons of playing three center backs versus playing a line of four, playing a single pivot versus a double pivot. He's going to be aware of all that, and I think you're going to see changes because of the schedule more than anything, and because of some of the absences you have. You don't have Bartek Slishin at midfield. I don't know if Dax McCarty can give you 90 Saturday and then 90 Wednesday in DC and then 90 the following weekend. So, do you play Jay Fortune in the midfield? Do you play a double pivot if Jay is there? If it's Dax, do you send Tristan higher up the field? I think you're going to see little things like that game to game, but I don't think you see a big marked change in the way this team is structured. I don't think you need to. I think honestly, you've got to get better performances from some big players. Just no way around it. You've got to get that. And you've got to alongside that, deal with missing some big players right now. No way around that either. And you've got to get goals. It's more than anything to me. I've said this for 2 months straight, it seems like, and it's no different now than it was before. You've got to convert your chances. And they've created them, and they've created good ones, and they've had opportunities, and they have not done that well enough. And whoever's up top has to convert their chances, and you're going to have to get goals from other places too. Like, this team hasn't scored goals on set pieces this year. Think back to previous years. Think back to now, Steven Gregerson, as he gets back from a hamstring issue. You get him into the 18 on corners, you should be able to find a goal or two out of that. You should be able to find something out of that, right? And you're just not. And you've got to, flat out. Like, we can go through formations and tactics and ask for X, Y, and Z, but if you're not scoring goals, you're not going to win games. And this team's not scoring enough goals to win games.
Jarrett for Jason on a Friday. Go.
To your point about being, playing on the front foot a bit and being up for defending your manager and defending your pride, especially after the documentary that dropped this week. How do you balance that of managing that aggression so that you don't get too far over your skis or burn yourself out, and deal with the moments where, like we talked about before, those moments where you don't control, where you have lulls in the match, and so you don't have those switch offs?
I think I get your question completely, and I think in some cases that's a concern. I don't think in this team it is, because I've said it for a while, and I don't think it's intentional, but this team needs an edge. They need to be nasty at times, whether that's dark arts, time wasting kind of stuff, or the classic Philadelphia Union move of I'm going to get subbed out. Oh, I have a hamstring issue now. Let's run some clock. Those kinds of things. Look, it's harder to do with the new rules, right? But you need to manage some of those moments. But more importantly to me, outside of when Franco Ibarra was in that midfield and he was just clocking people, you need to be overly aggressive for this group, because I don't think their overall personality takes them to a dangerous place in being more aggressive. I don't think you're going to get Roy Keane ending guys' careers with studs up tackles to the knees. I don't expect that kind of stuff out of this group, but you need more feistiness. You need more nastiness in moments. You need some of that. And if it's over exuberant for this group, I don't think it's over exuberant in the big picture in terms of losing control of it. And those kinds of things get the crowd going, and you need to get the crowd going. You need to get that support. You need to get that volume of fuel, because that's what it is. It allows you, when you're tired late in games, it gives you that extra burst. It gives you that extra sprint or two. This team's worked hard all season. That hasn't been a question. They're one of the top teams in terms of distance covered, sprints, intensive runs, all these things. But you've got to do things to show that you are a fighter now, because if the goals aren't coming, then you got to win some games ugly. And you're not going to do that by being afraid to get stuck into a tackle, being afraid to get into a scrap. This team's got to show a fighting edge, and I expect them to show it. I think that they'll take on the personality of the manager in Rob Valentino, but it's got to happen. It's got to happen with this group right now.
What are you anticipating with Houston coming to town? What has study hall been like for you getting ready for the Dynamo?
I mean, it's hard to call because they're going to be missing some guys. This hasn't been a good attacking team this year either in Houston. We've seen Ben Olsen teams over the years. I think Ben Olsen's been an underrated manager in this league for a while. He made some magical things happen with DC teams that were not good, and they did not spend any money on it. Time was up there, and he won an Open Cup last year with Houston. I mean, this is a good manager. He's not going to get confused for a Guardiola or any of that, but you talk about the things that we just covered with what Atlanta United needs to look like. That's what Ben Olsen teams look like. That's how they play, because they usually don't have that top end talent that can separate them from other teams. So they have to get by with grittiness and fight and winning those duels and just not allowing teams to bully them around. So it's not going to be an easy contest, but honestly, from the Atlanta perspective, there's nothing about Houston that should frighten you. There's nothing about Houston that I think makes you have to do something different tactically. Miami, for example, you went to 3 center backs there. As much of you had 3 good center backs going into that game that could play well and do what you needed to do, like we talked about the Dutch and the Euros. But also you did it because of who Miami is and what they were going to have up top. Houston, that's not there. So you get to focus on yourselves in this game if you're Atlanta United. And it's about what Atlanta does. Houston will be happy. If you gave them a draw right now, they would turn the plane around.
Yep.
They'd be completely fine with that. Go back home. You've got to steal that from them. You've got to take that from them. You've got to find 3 points one way or another. I do not care. If Atlanta United wins 1-0 tomorrow on an own goal, I do not want to hear anybody complaining about style. I don't want to hear anybody talking about anything other than 3 points, move on to the next. That's what it has to be. You've got to find a way to win. If it's from a set piece, it's from a set piece. If it's an own goal, it's an own goal. If it's off of somebody's backside, it's off of their backside. I don't care. You've got to find a way to get 3 points in the bag. Now, you're going to try to play your game, and I think you're going to try to create those transition moments, especially in the middle third where you turn teams over. You're going to try to get numbers in behind. You've got to get some production out of your wings and your 9 in this game. You have to. But if your goal has to come from a rampaging run from Caleb Wiley or Brooks Lennon, so be it. If it comes off of, Noah Cobb's hip in a scrum off of a corner, fine. I don't care. It's just about 3 points, and it's just about however you get it. And it doesn't matter who the opponent is. Uh-oh.
Yep. The Copa America roster has been finalized, but for the USMNT.
Okay.
All right. Keepers, Horvath, Sean Johnson, Matt Turner.
Yep.
Defenders, CCV, Christopher Lund, Mark McKenzie, Shaq Moore, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, both the Robinsons, Jedi and Miles, and Joe Scally. Midfielders, Tyler Adams, Johnny Cardoso, Luca De La Torre, Weston McKinney, Yunus Musa, Gio Reyna, Malik Tillman. Forwards, Brendan Aronson, Falarin Balogun, Pepe, Pulisic, Sargent, Weah, and Haji Wright. So that's the 26.
It's the group that's been there without Timmy Tillman. Josh Sargent is in the roster.
Mm-hmm.
But as Stephen Goff says, he can be replaced up to 24 hours before the opener. So they're banking on him getting right to be able to participate in this group, but it's not a guarantee as of yet. But I guess not really a big surprise with dropping Timothy Tillman and keeping everybody else.
Yeah, so that's your 26 as you get ready for the Copa once again. USA Panama here at Mercedes-Benz on the 27th. We have yet to talk about the new colors that we're repping, and I know that I wanted to have you break that down as well. So it's a new era at SDH.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just end with this. Like, we started this thing back in 2017. We started talking about it in 2016. Jarrett and I started doing the Peachtree Post then, and it morphed into Soccer Down Here, and it started with a 1-hour daily show and then turned to 2 hours quickly and then turned to all kinds of other shows. So without even really thinking about it, it turned into a network. And that's kind of where we are going forward now, is that we have live shows, and what you guys have done with this is amazing, and bringing in all the different guests and driving a daily morning conversation about anything soccer related. Even, what were you guys talking about? Italian moon landings before? I mean, what?
We were we were discussing the fact that the year of 2021 was the year of the Italians. They beat England in the Euros.
Yeah.
They won Eurovision.
How did they put a man on the moon? I missed that transition.
We were I think Nick and I were we spiraled.
Okay, just checking. Just checking.
Well, when you go from the fact that, like, Jarrett, my esteemed colleague Jarrett Smith, was saying that Italy won the Euros, they won Eurovision, they also won the Great British Bake Off, and so
in England.
So
yeah. It was Mainskin who won the Euros, the Eurovision.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. And then my boy Giuseppe running roughshod over everybody in the GBBO. What Jarrett was saying was, how do you guys top that? I'm like, I don't think we can, because that was sort of our moon landing.
Okay, there's where you put the person on.
You had everything in one crazy hit. Like 2006 was incredible, but to sweep one nation like that, like to seriously put the work on them over and over. It was like Roman Reigns with the Usos. Like, no matter what, you weren't beating them. Like, we were holding up the ones at the end. And, then of course the conversation goes like, well, what would that be like if the Italians landed on the moon? It's like, well, they just put a Ferrari on there, and like the spacesuits would be designed by Prada.
Well, and Alex Pacine made a point to make sure that they had a hole in the suit where you could smoke and smoke safely.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to have the smokes ready to go.
You got to have the port ready, so you don't have the smoke inside the mask.
Can't have that.
No.
Maurizio Sarri would not appreciate that at all.
No.
Can't have that. No, but see, those kinds of conversations that are just prone to happen, like, that's what has propelled Soccer Down Here into the SDH network, is unbridled chaos, talking about everything in the soccer world. I mean, yeah, we are based in Atlanta, so there's obviously going to be extra attention to Atlanta United. There's going to be extra attention to Decatur SC and Georgia Impact and everything happening around the South. Yes, that's where we're based. We're here. But you also get conversations about Italian moon landings and what that would look like. That's what happens on the SDH network. And we don't get to do any of this stuff and try to propel it even further forward to moon landings ourselves. We don't get to do any of that if you guys aren't listening and being a part of it. So, we're going to do a lot more stuff in terms of different kinds of content. I think as we've kind of grown up from being a show with other things to being a network, we're going to do more things like Maddie's been doing with the hits from the training ground after Atlanta United practice. So you guys get little clips to hear from different folks. We're going to do that with other teams around the market as well. You're going to get some reaction videos from us after games, and knowing some of these guys, Jarrett might be doing a reaction video about Motherwell and St. Mirren after a Scottish Cup match that might scare all of you, actually. Probably will.
Oh, I know he will.
Yeah, those things are going to happen. So go ahead, Jarrett. Nope. I thought he had something to say. He's muted.
Maybe.
So anyway, we're going to be doing more content across a variety of kinds of platforms. You're going to have the live shows. You're going to have all the anthology stuff that you're accustomed to. You're going to have shorter form things. So make sure you're following us at Soccer Down Here on all your social media platforms, YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed there. You're going to get longer form things as well. We're working on some features, some documentaries. The Sunday set piece will continue to evolve and expand. So we've made that transition from being a show to a network, and we did it kind of organically, and we're going to continue to grow organically. And if there are things that you guys out there want to see more coverage of, we can't make any guarantees because we are still growing and it takes resources to grow, but we're working on all that. But if you have requests, send them our way. We will do our best, and we will try to have the soccer conversations that you guys want to hear.
Broadcast plans. Well, a lot of us are going to be in a bunch of different places this weekend, but I guess let's start with you specifically with Houston and Atlanta.
Well, that's SDH Network right there for you. Is Jarrett's at Silverbacks Park with Apotheos in the NPSL. Maddie is in Canton at Cherokee High School with Georgia Impact of the WPSL. Decatur FC is going on as well on Saturday night. Our friend of the network, Gabriel Schrei, will be handling the call for that one. And then I'll be in the booth at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Land United, Houston, we had a week off. It's felt like a month. Yeah. It's not. It's been a week. And then next week is a crazy midweek action. So it's going to be very hectic, but we start at 6:30 on the Odyssey app on 92.9 The Game. 7:40 kickoff, as is custom when the game's on Apple TV. And you can listen to us on Apple TV if you're not going to be in the building. Probably right before kickoff, go to the audio menu and choose Home Team Radio, and Mike Conti and I will be there.
Yeah, looking forward to it, my friend, and it's great to usher in this new era. And this afternoon over at Lee and White, we'll be looking at Euros and seeing if now I want to see if I did this correctly. So I know this is dangerous when I try and do these things during the show.
Are you doing math during the show again?
No, I was not doing math, but I want to see.
Are you going to try and do technology during the show?
Yes.
Oh no.
Let me see. Let me see if I got the technology
Hold on,
correct.
let me get my helmet.
There you go, Jared.
You need to move the rabbit ears.
Well, that was
the only one.
that was
Yeah.
dude. That was from like 18 years ago.
John, there's this thing called high definition. There's this there's a greater fidelity of sound than the vinyl.
We're not going to keep Jason here for this, but there's an entire conversation to be had that national anthems around Europe are much better than the ones we have here.
South America might want to argue with you on that.
Well, yes, but the Euros are starting today, so we're talking about Europe.
Yep.
Yeah, but you just kind of said that over here, and
Oh,
you
I'm
can
talking about
include-
America. This
You're
is
talking-
this is
hold up there, Jarrett. You just might have really upset South America. Be careful with that one.
none of this is a shot at South America. They're fine. If anything,
You're talking
what
about
I'm-
the United States national anthem, correct?
yes, America's anthem. There
What
you go.
about Canada? Like Canada's anthem's pretty good.
Canada's fine. Got no
I
beef
like
with
their
Canada.
anthem. I like the Quebec version.
Yes.
Oh,
Man.
Canada.
I
don't
like
know.
when they bring the French into it. with
A
that.
land that's to our north. Absolutely.
All right, the anthem. That was a good attempt, John. Thank you for trying. I guess.
The South American anthems are fine. Got no beef with the South American
Good.
anthems.
This is not the anthem, but this
Thanks, Ricky.
is actually really cool. So the Italian anthem is very good, Ricky. You are absolutely correct.
Yes.
This is not the Scottish anthem, but they should be singing it in the stands if they're not falling over drunk.
We ain't no Argentina, but we got John again, and Rob out on the wing, no Scotland, no party, Steve Clark's Tartan Army, and even if we don't win, we'll boogie on in Berlin, no Scotland, no party, Steve Clark's Tartan Army.
Man,
Go
that's
find the whole song.
That was
It's amazing.
the best thing I've ever listened to in my whole life.
Go find the whole song. They took a song that was written about Diego Maradona from Argentina and turned it into a Scottish song because they're amazing. And go Scotland today.
That should be the first thing that we play when we get to Lee and White's tonight or today.
I'm okay with this.
Again, his Messi's last game second to last game should be at Hampton. His last game should be
not
at
last.
Yeah, no, God no. His last game, of course, is going to be at home, but his second to last game should be at Hampton. It will sell out.
Oh my God.
The English will, or the Scots will show up just to spite the English for an Argentina game in Scotland. They don't care. We lost 8-0. I don't care. The English are mad. We're fine.
I've thoroughly enjoyed the Argentines finding the Scottish fans in Germany videos and celebrating them. Like, look at these crazy people. The Argentines are just in awe of the Scots right now.
Oh, man.
For what it's worth, the Scots
man.
Scotland doesn't have an official anthem, which is the Scotland not being able to agree on an anthem or come to a consensus on anything is the most Scottish thing they could have done too. So
that's true. Well, so before we continue to talk and turn this into a 2-hour and 58-minute show.
No.
So Jason, you got stuff to do, and it's great to have you in for the last half hour and ushering in the new era here at SDH Officially Official with the silver and black attack that is the SDH network.
Adios. Back to talking about moon landings. Y'all have fun.
Yes, there you go. So there goes Jason. And so we're going to talk about moon landings for like 15 seconds. Final thoughts on the week. Maddie, what's on your mind?
Let's go Euros. I'm so excited. I'll say it before, say it again. My favorite tournament to watch. It's so fun. Vamos ATL. Let's go get 3 points at home tomorrow. Let's do it. And also, too, listen, I'll be on the call for Georgia Impact tomorrow at 7 p.m. where they'll face off against FC Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
And you can listen to that. I also will be in Chattanooga on Sunday with Gabriel as well to call the WPSL match there if you want to listen to those. But if not, consume soccer.
You're missing
out. Watch it wherever you want to watch. As long as you're watching soccer, you're doing something right.
Nick, final thoughts for the week.
The final words of the Italian national anthem. We are ready to die. Italia has called. So
I believe
let's ride, baby.
So Nick's ready to ride. Jarrett, last thoughts on the week.
Have fun. Enjoy the weekend. Just don't get too pissed drunk and have a good time.
Yes. So what he said, and I'm trying to find, do we have any outro music?
I don't believe that there are toilets thrown at Scottish games. Although ESPN can take a long walk off a short pier with their assessment of the Euros and the prep for this, because one of the reasons that it functioned so well on this show is because the pettiness and the inferiority complex of the Scots and the Italians. When the Italians are down, that Venn diagram is a circle, and right now they're all feeling it together.
Yes. So for everybody here, day one officially of the SDH network, for Maddie, for Nick, for Jarrett. Yes, Jarrett.
No, Bart, you can go to the game at the Benz and do that. I have to I have to bring chicken bones and all manner of
glass of hot
ancient,
fat head of Alfredo Garcia.
Yeah, I have to bring all sort of cryptic items with me because I have to spend my Saturday night at Silverbacks parking in, and I have to ward off all of the evil spirits while I'm there.
Correct. And Bristol Rhythm visiting Apotheos here for the weekend. So Bart says he's going to be at a wedding reception with an open bar, so he won't be at the match. But yeah, for everybody here, for Maddie, for Nick, for Jarrett, for Jason, I'm just John. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll come up with an outro at some point. But enjoy your weekend. Stay hydrated, as Abby says, and we will catch up with you how we catch up with you. Lee and White from 3 to 7, Euros busting it today. Be safe, everybody.